To Jonathan Hoenig and Gary Kaltbaum and Ellen Karras and Erica Payne on the messages we're getting. I guess, Erica, as we wait for California and whether those two rich corporate ladies fight another night. What do you think?
Explain. Say the.
Well, in other words, Carly Fiorina, Meg Whitman, they look to be front runners.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they pull it out, which makes the races going forward in the fall really interesting. And I think the year of the woman that we're going to see moving forward,
You're not going to break into like a Helen Reddy deal, are you?
You just never know, Neil.
I never know. But it is interesting. A lot of key women are very big here. Do you think that these women would have had the success they're having? Certainly corporate giants like this, and Meg leading right now, as these results come trickling in, had it not been for the tough times.
Well, I mean, eBay is a success story. So the fact that she's behind that and PayPal is definitely to her credit. I have to tell you, I really think that Carly Fiorina is going to have a little bit of a problem because while she was at Hewlett-Packard, there were some tough times, and I think...
Yeah, she's definitely more controversial as far as her corporate record. Huh?
Yes, and I think the opponents are going to take her to town on that. So I think she's going to have a tougher time.
Well, you think about it, Jonathan, talk about running into a buzzsaw. I mean, Carly Fiorina against Barbara Boxer. Barbara Boxer is an institution,
Well, Neil, this is not the year for institutions. Institutions are very much out these days. And I have to say, I don't think it's necessarily women that are dictating the agenda right now. I think it is the Tea Party movement. I mean, they have come in just the span of a little over a year, it seems, from being the AstroTurf party to be really the party, or the group, I should say, that's calling the shots in these elections. You've talked a lot about spending. Yes, it's against spending. It's against bailouts. It's against big government. And it's back towards so many of those individualist principles that a lot of these successful candidates, even going back to Rand Paul a few weeks back, are having a lot of success and a lot of great fortune running on.
Gary Kaltbaum, when I was in Atlanta for the Tea Party there, just covering that, I don't know if we have any video of that, but I really was wearing a very spiffy outfit. But I do remember, as always, besides the spiffy outfit, because everything goes back to me, as you know, Gary. But one of the things I remember about the people there is how much they hated everybody. In a good way. They didn't trust Republicans. They didn't trust Democrats. They didn't trust those in power. And I can't tell you, all the folks I walked up to would say, Neil, throw the bums out. Now, I know it's cliche. I know it's redundant. I know it gets to be overly repetitive. But if I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times. In Atlanta this year, in Sacramento last year, again and again and again. I don't know if these Tea Partiers are a Republican lock, is all I'm saying.
I think this is all about everyone at this point in time, Neil. We have gotten to this position because of Republicans and Democrats. I remember when Bush was spending, Republicans sat there silent. Now Obama's spending, Republicans are all of a sudden loud, and Democrats are silent. And I just think people are just plain tired of it. They want to get the job done. And Neil, one thing I was listening to earlier was Mayor Brown, and I'm pretty sure I got him quoted right. He said, government can't be run like a business. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And at the next second, I looked online here, and it says U.S. debt to rise to $19.6 trillion in 2015 from $13 trillion now. This is what the Tea Party is about. They are sick and tired of seeing these numbers. And by the way, it's not just the Tea Party. It's just people. People are tired of seeing these numbers and getting the same old line from politicians, both on the left and on the right. And they are going to change it. Elections are going to change it. And people who were put in, if they don't get it right, they'll be taken out also. I love what I'm seeing, and I hope it continues.
The question is how long it continues. You're nodding your head against this. What do you say?
I just don't think that the analysis, I don't think the facts support the analysis. So Blanche Lincoln, the establishment candidate, you would have thought, given that Labor came out against her and that she took a lot of unpopular votes, that the left really tried to take her out, and they weren't able to do it. And so, I mean,
You're right, but they put up a hell of a fight. I mean, an incumbent senator damn near lost.
Yeah, but she didn't. But
I
mean,
no,
close
right.
only counts in where she was in hand grenades.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying when you're the incumbent Democratic senator, it's one thing to lose against a Republican in a wave, but you damn near lost your job to a Democrat lieutenant governor who people didn't even know a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of energy bubbling up, but there's a lot of energy bubbling up at lots of different times in elections, and then at the end of the day, somebody wins and somebody loses, and that's where you go for the next 6 years. You know, and so I think we're going to see a lot.
You're trivializing what we're doing.
You don't
realize.
Neil, I wouldn't dream of trivializing what we're doing.
What do you make of that?
29 hours later.
Yeah, really. But there is something to what she says, though, that you can overanalyze something here, right?
Yeah, well, but I mean, there is a message, though. I mean, I think a lot of these turnouts, I think, is a clear message. The Tea Party.
Well, the turnout's actually very low, so I don't know what message.
Well, I mean, some of the people that are changing hands.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They're changing hands. But I also think that the Tea Party is not to be glossed over. I mean, they really, really did make a very big message. And
one way or the other, they did.
Money.
One way or the other. I'm sorry, Jonathan, what were you going to say?
Well, Neil, what's low is Congress's approval rating, and all of these stalwarts. I know, Erica wants to say the incumbents aren't doing so badly, but whether it's Harry Reid or Pelosi or any of these other real stalwarts of the Senate
but
and on the GOP side as well.
You for a second. I just want to bring up, and I'm going to continue here, but Meg Whitman, as expected, and AP reporting, the Republican nominee for Senator, the former eBay superstar billionaire in her own right, turned a multi-million-dollar concern into a multi-billion-dollar concern, is going to be able to take on a multi-trillion-dollar mess called the state of California if she were to beat Governor Jerry Brown, the former governor, now the Attorney General, who told me earlier on she knows nothing about running government just because she ran a multi-billion-dollar institution. Okay, I'm kidding, but that was the gist of what he said. So Gary Kalpam, what do you make of that? That now an experienced business pro is going to get a crack at doing something the government guys so far have not been able to do of both parties.
Not been able to do, not even close to be able to do. California is an absolute mess. I am hoping she comes in, treats it like a business, unlike what Mayor Brown said, have some dinners with Governor Christie and mimic exactly what he's doing if she wins. That's what needs to be done. Government has to be cut 20-25%, whether it's head count, plants, whatever it has to be, or else the markets are going to eventually force the issue. You're seeing it across the world, and it's going to hit here eventually.
All right, we're going to go dinners with Governor Christie. Get there early is what I'm saying. But I want to break away from this because we have column